Well, I was just thinking of that pilchard story and how it's the finance minister's favorite food. He might be affected. Now, Finance Minister Tito Mboweni's budget speech will have to convince ratings agencies not to downgrade our sovereign credit rating. Moody's has already revised this year's growth forecast from 1% to 0.7%.
Finance Minister Tito Mboweni will table this year's budget speech on the backdrop of a looming credit rating downgrade. Mboweni will have to take tough decisions to retain the country's investment grade, especially after the only rating agency to still have South Africa's debt a notch above investment grade revised the country's outlook from stable to negative. At the time, Moody cited a lack of faith in government's ability to implement intended economic reforms. According to BLSA CEO Busisiwe Mavuso, Mboweni will need to deliver a credible fiscal strategy.
It was worried that the interventions that we're putting in place to indeed, reduce that debt and to contain the expenditure are actually not credible enough. And they are not yielding the results that they would have liked to see. And I think when you were to look at what exactly is contained in the expenditure that we have as a country, the big ticket items are obviously the public sector wage bill, and of course the bailouts to the SOEs.
Ratings agencies have cited state-owned enterprises as one of the biggest risks to government spending. Government has bled billions of rands bailing out SOEs like Eskom and South African Airways. Mavuso says this is the time to relook government's stake at SOEs. Government will have to demonstrate their willingness to contain debt as a ratio to GDP and the ballooning public sector wage bill to ratings agencies.
Let's see Minister Tito Mboweni say that, we are actually going to close these SOEs because they are not strategic. We are going to freeze the public sector wage bill. We've been saying that we are going to live within our means. We are not going to borrow ourselves out of this conundrum, but our debt, keeps on rising. We're currently sitting at about 70% debt to GDP ratio, which doesn't augur well for the country.
South Africans will watch Minister Mboweni's budget speech to hear which taxes will be going up. The South African Revenue Services has missed revenue collection targets in the past few years. This is mainly due to a weakened SARS in the state capture years and a rising unemployment rate. For now, it's anyone's guess which taxes will go up, but if the current economic climate is anything to go by, South Africans can expect a rough ride ahead. Balentle Mthethwa, SABC News, Johannesburg.